So, to actually get started. So, we're going to actually do our iOS build stuff now. So, Unity, we're going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and delete the folder that we already had for that at one point. I'm going to clean up this desktop a little bit. We don't need our APK and our bar files and our second APK and all this other stuff. Actually, I'll keep that. We don't need star, all the sound effects we put into the game. Just doing some basic cleanup. This is stored elsewhere, so is this. I don't really care about the source files for these. And we already have all this stuff in the game. Yeah, we'll just get rid of all that. Alright. And so what we're going to do, so make a game now, open project. So we're going to switch over build settings, we're going to switch to iOS, and we're going to switch platform, and we're going to wait for that bar to go. This is one of the longer platform switches. For whatever reason, the conversion of images takes a little bit longer because it does some extra compression or something. I don't know exactly what it's doing behind the scenes. All I know is that switching to iOS takes longer than most platforms. So we're going to do iOS first, and then we're going to do Mac App Store. We'll see how this goes. iOS, I know the process really well. Mac App Store, I remember probably for what we're making, it's pretty easy, but there's some trickiness to actually exporting the thing that Mac App Store wants. And it may be easier now, I'm not sure. I'm going to go ahead while this is barring. I'm going to find my cord for plugging in my iOS device. So this is going to be also one of the more cheaty episodes because I'm not actually going to use our Make a Game Now account. We made one on the registration for iOS episode oh so long ago. And I was not able to actually get that set up properly because I had a duplicate tax ID with my existing company. So so we're going to publish this one through Pushy Pixels. I set everything up to be as close to what we were at before. I deleted all certificates and signing stuff so that we'll be redoing that, and then we'll get this thing published. It'll be just like if you were doing your own account. I just didn't get to use the one that we had just freshly created because of the tax ID conflict. You won't have that problem because you probably haven't published before if you're watching this series. Or maybe you have and you're just looking for the new process, but you know what I mean. So, if you already have published before, you already have your company set up. So, I didn't want to do that. Why did it do that? I want to turn that off. My phone did something weird. Hopefully it won't affect the broadcast. Alright. So, and it did that again. Alright, sweet. So, we're going to build, and I'm going to do a build and run, just for the purpose of doing it. And we're going to build it to the desktop, and this is going to build a folder, and this folder contains our project files, and it'll open up in Xcode once Unity is done building. And so the first thing I'm going to do is, so it says no matching provisioning profiles found for Make a Game Now. Grid Cruiser were found. So I'm going to cancel this first because we have, so we had set this up at one point with, this isn't where you set that. Where is it that we set that? Well, I'm just going to hit Fix Issue and see what happens here. View accounts. There we go. So, accounts. Actually, I want to cancel this. So, I want to, as I said, we're going to be using my main account, so I'm going to be removing this one, and we're going to be adding my main Apple ID. So Pushy Pixels LLC is what we're going to be doing this under, and we're going to be going into, what are we doing? Where was I? Xcode. So on Xcode, we've got Make a Game Now, Grid Cruiser. So for the purposes of publishing, I'm going to be putting this under my company name, as I said. So we're going to be changing it on this one to com.pushypixels.gridcruiser. And we are now going to attempt to build this. So I'm going to hit play. We're going to do fix issue. We're going to choose Pushy Pixels LLC. This will just have your name in it. Resolve the code signing issues. So your iOS development certificate was not found on the member center. That's fine. We're going to request. This is like what we did last time, so you may not have to do this stuff if you already have it set up. It may just create a new app ID if the app ID changed, and that would be it. So it's going to go through and do this magic stuff for us. And then we're going to hit oh wait, it's already building, so good. So we might have this running on the phone here in a second. And always allow. And I'm going to switch to the face. Actually, let's do the face plus cams. That way if I minimize the damage. So it's running. It just showed up on Unity. And I'm just going to do a really basic run through just to make sure that nothing's weird and broken, that's only an iOS problem. And we can check off our graphics problem maybe for the first time. So right now there's no music. That's because I'm muted. There we go. And I'm going to hit high scores. We got no high scores. Good. Credits. Shows the credits. Good. Start game. And we've got fog. Good. Good. So everything's working kind of how we expect it. Sounds are working. Collectibles are working. Dying's working. Okay, everything's great.
Everything was smooth.
Everything was smooth too. So that works. So we're going to publish this thing. So now we get to do the fun stuff for iOS publishing. So first we're going to go Apple Developer, and we're going to go to the iOS Developer Program, and we're going to go to Member Center. And normally it asks you to log in here. So let me sign out so that we can show what that actually looks like. Evidently I had signed in. So let's go Apple Developer again, iOS Developer Program, Member Center. Okay, so here's where it asks you to sign. So you put your information in here. We're using my main account, as I said, not the one that we made, unfortunately. And we're going to hit Continue on Pushy Pixels LLC. And so we're going to go to the iOS Dev Center. Oh, I've got a warning about my iOS stuff expiring. That's a bummer. All right, so we're going to go to Certificates, Identifiers, and Profiles. And we're going to look at this stuff. And remind me later. We're going to look at iOS Apps Certificates. So this certificate was just created today. It expires next year. This is the one that was automatically generated by iOS. I deleted all my previous certificates. You do not have to keep your certificates around once you publish. It sounds like it's going to delete your app. It won't. Then I've got app IDs. I'm not able to delete apps that were published. So all these ones I can't delete. And this one was generated for Grid Cruiser automatically. So that's awesome. And then we've got devices. I can't actually remove devices, so this has all the devices that I have allowed so far. Yours will probably just contain whatever device that you had done. It will automatically add your device to this list if it's not already in the list when you do a build on Xcode. And then we've got the iOS team provisioning profile here for development. So we're going to have to set up for distribution. So what we need is we're going to need a new provisioning profile for App Store. We're going to be Distribution App Store, Continue. We need an app ID, so we're going to use Com Pushy Pixels Grid Cruiser. Continue. We need a certificate, so we're going to create a certificate. We do create certificate. We want Production, App Store, and Ad Hoc. And we hit Continue. And then it's going to ask you to generate a certificate. So we're going to open keychain access. So if you just command space, we'll bring up this, or you can click the little search thing. We're going to search for keychain access. And there's a lot of fun stuff in here. So what we want to do is we want to drop down keychain access, services, no, not services, certificate assistant, there it is, certificate assistant, I think it's request a certificate, yeah, request a certificate from certificate authority, certificate assistant, request certificate from certificate authority. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my face because I don't want to block anything. And we don't need it right now. So, user email address, dragfire@gmail.com. I'm going to use the one that I used for this. CA email address. So, you fill out your email address, common name. So, we're going to just call this, I'm going to call this Pushy Pixels, what is it called? App Store is what I'm going to call it. And, click continue. Oh wait, we're in request. We want save to disk, and we hit continue. And then we're going to save this to somewhere. I'm going to do the desktop, so that's easy. And we've created our request. So we're going to hit done. I'm going to close keychain access. And we're going to hit continue. And so now we update our file. We're going to choose file. We're going to go to desktop and grab our signing request. Open it. Generate. Already we've had to do more than we had to do for the Android thing. Honestly, the only reason Android took so long is because I was worried we had to do something with a key that we ended up not having to do anything with. So we're going to download our certificate, and then all you do is you just run it, and it'll open up keychain access again and add it in. So we should be ready to rock now. So we hit done, and so now we are set up for iOS distribution. And we are able, we should have enough here to actually sign and submit our game. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go into iTunes Connect, which is a completely separate area. So we're going to go to iTunes Connect, and we're going to log in again. Alright, so it automatically logged me in, that's cool. We're going to go manage your apps. And here's all our stuff. So, seeing Proton Pulse actually makes me a little sad. I want to get that back on the store at some point. We'll probably figure that out at some point. So, we're going to add a new app. iOS app. App name is Grid Cruiser. SKU number. A unique ID for your app. Alright, I forget what I actually do. I think I'm going to do PP Grid Cruiser 1. That's what I'm going to call it for our SKU. And our bundle ID is Grid Cruiser. Now, the bundle ID cannot be changed if the first version of the app has been approved, or if you enable Game Center or iAd Network. That's fine. We're going to hit continue. Price tier. We're going to put this at tier 1. We're going to make the availability date. If you set it to... Okay, so in the past, and admittedly I'm still worried about it. I don't know if they resolved the issue. There was a time when you know how when you add an app, it shows up in the What's New section? There was a time when if you had it dated earlier than it actually released, because Apple takes time to actually review this stuff, you would not end up in the What's New, because it would check to see when it was available and the date was in the past, and it's like, oh, it's been a week, so you don't go into What's New. I don't think it's a problem anymore. As a matter of fact, I'm going to test it, but I'm going to give you fair warning. If you set this up, you might want to set a date in the future, like 2 or 3 weeks in the future. You can always change it back earlier once you actually have been approved. I'm just going to leave it at today's date, so it'll go out as soon as it can. And hopefully it will still get the proper amount of marketing. So I think they have fixed it. I just don't know. You can have it so that there's discounted prices for educational institutions. Why not? If an educational institution wants to buy my app, if they want to buy 100 copies and they want a bulk discount, that's fine. And this is not a B2B app, so we're going to hit continue. All right, version number 1.0. Not 1.9, 1.0. Copyright. We're going to go Pushy Pixels LLC. Primary category, what are we doing? We're going to be doing, primary is games, subcategory arcade, subcategory action. Second category, we're going to say education or entertainment. Let's just do entertainment. And so no cartoon or fantasy violence, no realistic violence, no prolonged graphic or sadistic realistic violence, profanity or crude humor, mature, none of that, no medical treatment, information, alcohol, tobacco, or drug use references, simulated gambling, sexual content or nudity, although that cube is hot. Graphic sexual content and nudity, definitely not that hot. Unrestricted web apps access. No, we don't allow that. Gambling in contests, no. Made for kids. It's not specifically made for kids. I'm going to leave that blank. Metadata description. So we're going to go back to our project here. And I'm going to just get one of these files, Reveal in Finder. And we're going to go down into our documents and our submission text. So I'm going to grab the long description, because it was asking for a description. Keywords, we get to use keywords, so I'm going to just grab the keywords that we had already written up, put that in here. Support URL, I'm going to give them main at makeagamenow.com. I think that will be allowed. We'll find out. Marketing URL, www.cookingwithunity.com. And we don't need that one. So, app review contact information, Maximilian Moreau, main at makeagamenow.com. Actually, I guess I should be using my... Yeah, whatever, that's fine. Phone number, 501-325-3807. Review notes, optional. We don't need a demo account. All that's cool. App Store contact information. This is actually out of date. That's the only thing that changed. Email, sure. Main at makeagamenow.com. Actually, App Store contact information. So if your app on the Korean App Store, you must provide additional information. So this is for Korea, evidently. That's cool. 1-541-325-3807. And so here we go. I'm gonna hit save right now, just so that we save that stuff. It might not actually save, but I just want to give it a shot. And let's get the large app icon. This one is the 1024 by 1024. So we're going to grab this one. We're going to get it from documents. I'm going to use a little Mac trick where you just drag this thing in here to mean I want to be there. And we're going to go into submission screens. Game icon 1024. Open. And 3.5-inch retina screenshots. We may have to actually change these. They must be 960 by 640, 960 by 600. Alright. So we want 960 by 640, I think. So we may have to resize these things. Yeah, we're going to have to do a few of these. I'm just going to give it a shot. I don't think it's going to allow it. I just am going to give it a shot anyway. I think that they have to be the exacting resolutions, though. So, 960 by 640, right? So while that's deciding if that's okay, we're going to go into Documents and make some more versions of these screens. This is when I wish I knew how to use GIMP in a batch style. Alright, we're going to focus on just 2 screenshots at first. So I opened up one of them. Let's export. Okay, so first let's see how this is going. Yep, it's not allowed. So we need 960 by 640. So if we change if we scale image 960 by 540. Ooh, that's scary. Why did it end up as that? Wait, what is 3.5-inch retina display? Okay, so we actually want 640 here. That's what we want. So we're going to do 640 by here. And actually, this is probably one of the resolutions we need. So 640 by 1136. Is that what we got? We got 1138, 640. So I'm going to remove the link here so that we can force it into a resolution. So I'm going to do 1136 by 640. So we're going to do this one now. Scale. And we're going to export as 0.
1136 640.
Yeah, I'll put a dash. 1136 by 640. And export. And then what other ones do we need? We need... So this one is going to be 16 by 9. This one's going to be 3 by 2, and this one's going to be 4 by 3. So we're going to do it in that order. I'm going to do this one, and then this one, because then we won't lose any extra data. So we're going to now... Well, actually, we will lose some, because this needs to be really high, doesn't it? Yeah, we need really big numbers. Okay, so we'll just do... We'll do them. We may have to reopen each time. So that's this one. We're going to... Actually, let's just reopen it and start... This one is in the same range, right? Yeah. Yeah, this one we just need to crop, so that's fine. We'll do that. We're going to go image, canvas size, and we're going to change the canvas size now to, what is it, 960? Yeah, 960. So, 960. We don't want to stretch our images out. We want it to show what it's going to look like in the game, and we want it to be centered. So we're going to center, and we're going to resize. What?
Oh, is it 960 by 640?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, resize. So this is our 960 by 640. We're going to export as 960 by 640. Export. And then finally, we're going to have to reopen our original image because... so I'm going to close this. I'm going to not save it. Discard changes. We're going to open up our original, and then this one we need to set to iPad screenshots. So we want 2048 by 1536. So we're going to do image size, scale image. What is it called? 2048 by 1536. So I think we want 1536. We already have the 1536. We just need to... Okay, perfect. We're already set up. So all we need to do is just canvas size that... No. I don't know what I just did there. I'm just going to hit undo a few times. We're going to do canvas size... Not canvas... Yeah, canvas size. And was it 2048? Yeah, 2048. 2048. Center, resize. And we're going to save this one as... We're going to export this one as... 0-2048 by 1536. Export. You could also take screenshots on your particular platforms and stuff. I just like grabbing... That's the reason we got these screenshots in the resolution we did, is that so that we can support all these stupid resolutions without having to worry about it. So now we're going to choose our files. I'm just going to do one for now and see if it'll allow us to submit with that. So we need the... This is the 960 by 640. And then this one is the 1136 by 640. And this one is the 2048 by 1536. If we have more time later, I may add more screenshots like we did on the Android one. If we can get away with just one screenshot, I'm going to do just one screenshot for right now. If there's a minimum, we'll keep doing them until we're done. And then if we have more time, I'm going to see if I can figure out how to automate that process. So keywords for English cannot be longer than 100 characters. Support URL you entered is invalid, so we have to give it an actual URL. We'll go with same thing. And you must provide a first name in the App Store contact information section. So first, let's see that 100 characters here. What are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. I'm just going to get rid of on rails and see if that puts us close enough. And so we're going to grab this here, paste, and what did I need? I need a first name in the App Store contact information section. I thought I did that. Oh, this is it. Maximilian Moreau. There we go. And we're gonna hit save. All right, keywords are still too long. Did I not actually paste that in? I did, but it's still too long. I'm gonna try getting rid of just the periods between things, because I think that'll still parse okay. Actually, I know it will. I did research on this. And let's see if that's enough. Save. Got to be close. Woohoo! We made it. Look, we rounded our edges for us. So what else do we need to do? Prepare for upload. So we're ready to go. So let's do view details. And we're going to say ready to upload binary. Is your app designed to use cryptography? No. Does your app contain, display, or access third-party content? No. Does this display? I want to know what this actually does. Display or access third-party content. I'm going to just say no. Does this app use advertising identifier IDFA? I'm going to say yes because we actually do have some third-party. Do you have all the necessary rights to the content, or are you otherwise permitted to use it under the laws of each app store? Yeah, we'll just say that. Does this app use advertising identifier? No. Save. You're now ready to upload your binary using application loader. So we're going to go back into Xcode. And we're going to Xcode Open Developer 2 Application Loader. So Xcode Open Developer Tool Application Loader. And we're going to accept the license for this. We're going to put in our information. Click next to get started. All right. So we want to... If you're ready to submit your binary, click deliver your app. I'm going to say deliver my app. Grid Cruiser. Click next. Choose. Okay, so now it wants the actual thing that we're going to upload. So we need to build that though, and this is not been very helpful in teaching us how to do that. So I'm going to teach you all the tricks here. So we're going to go into build settings. And we're going to change the code signing identity. We're going to change release to iOS distribution. Actually, I'm going to turn all of them. Actually, we'll just do release. We only need to do release. So iOS distribution, provisioning profile, we're going to use iOS Pushy Pixels Grid Cruiser. And I don't think we have to change it on these ones. And that should be all we need to change. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go into product, and we're going to do build for... Actually, we're going to choose archive. That's what we want. Archive. Product archive. And this thing will build out a version of it, sign it, and put it somewhere. we're going to find it. Still doing stuff. Is my face on the screen? No, it's not. Shouldn't have had it generate a DSIM file. We don't need it anyway. And the DSIM file takes forever to generate for some reason, so... We're still here. We're just waiting for this thing to go. Come on, come on. You can't really be still building this thing, can you? Seriously?
Where do you tell it not to build it with a...
So,
not to
for the
generate a
future, if
DSIM
you
file?
don't want to generate a DSIM file, which you almost never want, especially if you're doing Unity for development, I'm just going to search for DSIM here. DSYM. Okay, maybe SYM. Nope, that's not where it is. General, maybe it's in general. No. Info, build settings, build phases. Should be in here. DSIM. All. There we go. So you have to go to all. Evidently, they now hide it behind this thing called basic. So you go to all, and then you change it to, instead of dwarf with DSIM file, you do dwarf. Although you might need it for release. I don't know. That's weird that it turns it off for debug. Actually, I think that Unity now turns it off by default for debug, and they didn't turn it off for release. So I think you're safe to turn this off, but I'm not going to because we're done. So we now have Grid Cruiser here. And actually, we didn't even need to open Application Loader. I'm going to quit Application Loader so it doesn't get confused. We're going to go and hit Validate, and we're going to hit Always Allow. And this one's going to be my actual one next. Alright, so no identities are available for signing. Weird. Would have sworn that it already had been signed. Download identities. Pushy pixels. Choose. You probably won't get that pull down. Certificates were not found on the member sitter. Not now. We'll do that later when we're doing the Mac stuff. Okay, maybe we do have to do it now. Choose. Sure, we'll request it, whatever. We're still here. No identities were available. No, an administrator must request identities before they can be downloaded. This is a new screen that I have not seen before. I'm going to just hit distribute. What does this do? Submit to iOS App Store. Next. Choose no identities are available for signing. That's so not true. We're so ready to sign. Alright, I'm going to quit Xcode. We're going to launch Xcode again. I'm going to hit Stop Tasks. I'm going to go back into Xcode. And we're going to open... Oh yeah, I've got recent projects turned off, so we're going to go in here and open up Unity iPhone Xcode project. This is what it's generated by Unity. And we're going to go into Window Organizer. This brings up this menu that came up automatically when we did the archive. And I'm going to choose Distribute. Next. Next. No identities are available for signing. I'm going to check my settings here to see if we did anything weird. So, iOS team provisioning profile. Oh, that's the wrong one, isn't it? We want, all these weird ones from when I was working at another company.
There's a Make a Game Now one.
We don't want the team. We want the distribution profile. Okay, we don't want iPhone develop. Okay, so let's. Okay, we're gonna have to go back into our developer. Yeah, developer.apple.com. That's right. Member Center. We're going to go into our iOS stuff again. Certificates, identifiers, and profiles. Remind me later. We're going to go to our certificates. So we've got a distribution. Okay, I don't think I downloaded this. So we're going to download our distribution certificate. Oh, I did. But then did it not add it or something? Double click it. What did we call this one? iOS. Certificates. Worldwide Developer Relations Certificate for iPhone Developer Maximilian Moreau. So this is the one. This is the one that we got. I think. iPhone distribution. Here we go. I see it here. Pushy Pixels App Store. So we have a certificate. What does it want from me? So if we change this to those code signing entitlements, that doesn't help me at all, does it? I go to basic. All right. iOS team provisioning profile .pushy pixels. Huh. Sweet. This is exciting. All right. So identifiers, app IDs. We have an app ID for it. Provisioning profiles, all. iOS team provisioning profile. Wait, where's our distribution profile? I swear we made one. Okay, we didn't make a distribution profile. That's our problem. So we're going to create a new distribution profile. I swear we did this. App Store. We give it... I swear we went through all of this. There we go. Oh, we didn't have the certificate. And then it brought us to the certificates, and then we didn't actually make this. So profile name is... this one's going to be called... Grid Cruiser Distribution Profile. So this is our problem. Generate. See, I've done this one before and it's still tricky. So now we can download and install. So we're going to download that, and then we just click on our mobile provision there. You probably don't need to do that. It'll probably be able to pull it from here once we're done there. All right, now we'll be able to do this. So if we go into iPhone distribution, I'm gonna quit Xcode again, and we're gonna open up the project again, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the dsym file just in case that we'll find out if it's needed in a moment here. And we're going to go to build settings. We want iPhone distribution. Oh well, let's see if this will work. So we're going to go ahead and build archive. I have a feeling it's still not going to work because I don't think that at least we won't have to wait for the dsym file. But the fact is that it doesn't show a specific distribution profile here. Kind of worries me. So I'm going to delete the old one here. We're just going to delete this first archive so that we don't run into it. And we're going to validate it. And next, there we go. Grid Cruiser distribution profile. Validate. Always allow. Your application is being validated. Yay! They don't even show a bar anymore, do they? That's fascinating. Oh, there we go. Oh, we got a spinny thingy. They save all the bar games for last on the Xcode stuff. We get to play a lot of bar games. Let's see what comments that we have so far. Let's go ahead to view on watch page, open link in new tab. And we don't want to hear our voices again.
I like how Xcode's symbol icon thing is a big hammer.
Yes, it is. It's a huge hammer. Looks awesome. On the store too, just bought it as well. I just noticed when you hold both left and right down will always win. Right will always win. It should have not always won.
They'll cancel out, but the camera turns right.
Oh, okay.
And if you dash, you can hold down the opposite direction of where you're dashing, and the camera will turn in that direction.
All right. So yeah, we could fix that if we wanted to. I didn't. That's definitely a C bug. So, so let's see what this thing's doing. It's still validating, I guess. It's probably doing some uploading in the background too. So if there's any choppiness on the video, I apologize, or on the audio. Hopefully it will actually validate the first time, and we won't have to go through this too many times. But, you know, it doesn't always go on the first time, so... I probably should just hit distribute, because I swear that it does the validation step both times, even if you... whether you pre-validate or not. They might have changed that, but there was a time when I definitely confirmed that it took twice as long to do validate and then distribute, and distribute would still validate, so... At least we got a step further, so that's good. That's good, that's good, that's good. How long does it take to go live? Oh, probably a week, maybe 2. Depends on how many app submissions they have at that time. I'm answering this question about I didn't realize you had to go through so much to get the game submitted through iOS. They basically have a person look at it. They look at it for about, I'm going to gauge probably an hour to 3 hours is how much man time you get on a project, depending on its complexity. If it's a really complex project, you might get more. But those 3 hours have to come after they've done that 3 hours for like thousands of other apps. So it takes like a week for their team to get through it. Honestly, it might not even be that long. It might be shorter. I don't know. Or it might be longer. I don't know. Maybe they have a whole lot of people and they spend a lot of time on it. It actually takes the whole week. But that would be my guess, is about 1 to 3 hours of actual eyeball time before it gets released. No issues were found. Excellent. We're going to finish. We're going to hit distribute. Submit to the iOS App Store. Next. We're going to submit. I want to just make sure... On iTunes Connect, we're going to hit continue. I just want to make sure our settings look good here. Good, good. And what is the price? How do we even tell what we're doing for the price? Let me go to app summary here. It's going to go slow because we're uploading stuff. So, rights and pricing. I just wanted to make sure that we had actually set a price for it.
We set tier 1, which it doesn't remember apparently.
It did. Yeah, tier 1 is right. Tier 1 is right.
It said choose. Yeah, it says choose. Oh, okay,
yeah.
It says it down there.
You can actually change the price here. You can even have effective dates on it. It's actually pretty nice. You can tell it to, in the future, you're going to have a sale this period to this period, and then it will go on that sale, and then it will take you off that sale automatically.
Pricing tiers?
Sure. View pricing matrix.
Oh, so it's basically $1 increments.
Yeah. It used to be less granular, but it's gotten pretty granular now.
Oh, and it did jump.
Yeah, it starts jumping around. It used to be like 1 to 5 in $1, and then it was like 10, 15, 20, and then it was like 50, 100, I don't know. So this thing's still being uploaded. We may have some interruption of audio while it's uploading, but just trust me that it's just uploading right now. And yeah, the Android submission process is pretty easy, especially using Unity, because you can just generate your key store through Unity. You don't have to do any command line stuff whatsoever. Depending on whether we want to actually do the Mac App Store thing in this hour or do that on another episode. I have a feeling that we should devote a whole episode to it, even though it might be fast now that we know what we're doing.
Have you released to the Mac App Store?
I have once. It was Proton Pulse.
Is it very similar to what we just did for...
It's similar. It has... So the big difference is on the Unity side, I don't think Unity builds an Xcode application, so you don't have to deal with that portion, but you do have to, like, package it somehow, and I think the application loader now has a better packaging system for it. But I remember I ran into one problem with packaging where I ended up using, like, a third-party tool to help with it, but I had to have some specific... It was for Game Center support or something. It may have changed, I don't know. They had to, like, generate some sort of manifest of some kind that they needed. That's the main reason that I'm thinking maybe we should just do it on a separate episode for the Mac App Store. Still uploading. But yeah. Regarding the priority, that's just based on our logic. We have an if statement. I don't know what we have in there, but basically, if I know that in the movement we have it so that it moves, it adds to the movement, and the if statement's not an if else. So it'll add left to your movement, and then it'll add right to your movement, and then they'll cancel each other out on that frame. With regards to the tilting, I'm not sure how we set that up. We might have done an if-else statement, which would make it so that one would prioritize over the other. Or we might have done something where if one's already held, it won't detect the other, or vice versa. I'm not sure exactly what we did. More... I hate bars that just look like a candy stripe. The candy stripe bar, not a fan, because it's not a real bar. It's a... hey, we're going to just do this for as long as we need, even though we're supposedly, quote-unquote, uploading an application, which you would think that they would have a bar for, considering they know how big the application is and how much has been uploaded so far. But, you know, whatever.
This is only slightly less accurate than the normal bars.
I guess that's true. I mean, it might as well just gone and then just waited forever. We can't do a pixel count, though. We go here and we're like, well, there's no pixels to count. It's right to the edge.
We're almost done.
Yeah, evidently. We're almost done. It'll take another week or two to push an update? Yes, absolutely. It will take that week or two every time that you update your app. Yes. Unless you're updating for a legal reason. There is a checkbox that appears when you are uploading an app change that says, are you uploading your app for a legal reason? If you click that checkbox, it will rush through. You have to actually have a legal reason, though. Good example would be if you got a cease and desist for something in your game, and you needed to change that something so that you wouldn't get like death threats from some company. You could say, I'm changing this for a legal reason, and describe the nature of the change, and then they will rush you through. But yeah, with iOS, you have to wait a long time. With Android, it's available that day. Which is also kind of scary, because we could have put up a virus that destroys everything in your device, just thrashes it, and no one would know till they downloaded it. So, I mean, there's positives and negatives to both. I would say that iOS is a little too thorough, and I would say that Android is a little too open. I'm not sure what the happy medium is. Definitely the submission process, though, needs to be streamlined on iOS. I think that they really need to think about that. And I'm interested to see what the submission process will be for the Windows stuff, because there were a lot of bars just getting stuff set up for Microsoft, and a lot of the stuff that they were doing reminded me of the Xcode stuff. It actually kind of scared me. I think they modeled a lot of their stuff after Apple stuff, and I really wish they had modeled their stuff after Android stuff. You know what I mean?
What about if you're using asset bundles in your app, then can you
If you're using asset
make
bundles in
updates through
in
the
your
asset
app,
bundles without iOS
then yes, you can.
having any problems?
You can. If you are modifying your stuff by downloading additional data, you can get around that restriction. I think there's some special stipulations for doing that, but Apple doesn't actually really check on you after launch. So so if you have something that downloads an asset bundle, which requires Unity Pro, but if you have Unity Pro and you set up like expansions or something on a web server that get pulled from the app automatically, that stuff will work. I can't believe it's still on this bar. I mean, I guess I can believe it's still on this bar, but I mean, like, how big is this thing? Couldn't be that big. I'm gonna hit refresh. It's bar time.
Can you check the size of the IPA?
Here, let me see if I can. It won't let me show in Finder while this screen is up. It lets me right-click there and teases me that it totally could find it in the Finder for me. There's no way I'm going to find where it's buried, that thing. It's like somewhere in like application settings or something. I guess I could look for it. What's the name of it? Grid Cruiser? I'm just going to search. Grid Cruiser. Top hit, Grid Cruiser. Where is this at? How do I show all in Finder? There it is. Library, developer, Xcode, derived data, Unity, iPhone, build, products, Grid Cruiser. This is where it ended up. So I'm going to check to see how big it is. 81 megabytes.
It still should be done soon, I think.
I don't know why it's so big. I mean, our APK was only... I deleted it, so I don't know. Here we go. I didn't delete it. Not untitled APK. It's Mega Game Now APK. It's only 23.7 megabytes. I don't know. I guess it totally decompresses it when it builds it and then recompresses it later. I don't know. Or maybe iPhone is just that much bigger for some reason. There was a time when iPhone was about double from Unity stuff, but that was because iPhone supported both ARM 6 and ARM 7, and it would build an executable for ARM 6 and an executable for ARM 7, and so it was roughly double the size. So yeah, I don't know why this one's so big, or why it shows up so big as the archive. We are uploading our show right now, so this may be slower. I don't have the greatest upload in the world as it is. We have 1.7, 1.8 megabits up, and we use 1.5 of that for the show. So, or yeah, 1.4 of that for the show. So we're running a pretty slow connection. It's still nice to know. I know this is going to sound stupid. I'm making excuses for showing bars on the screen, but it's nice to know that this can take a while. Sometimes when you're doing this by yourself, you don't have anything to compare it to. It's awful when you're just sitting staring at this bar, and then you like go have a donut or something, and you come back and the bar's still there, and so you'll know that it's supposed to take this long, or it can take this long at the very least, if it is indeed doing anything. I really should have gotten... So iStats menu is something that I have on my main install, and I didn't put it on this one because it's a paid app, and I literally set this up as we only do from scratch to published on this partition. It is entirely that. And so I normally have a little indicator how... Actually, I've got activity monitor. I'm not that lazy. We can just do that, activity monitor. But this doesn't really help us because we're going to be doing uploading as well. So let's see. Maybe it has it supported. Process name, cent bytes... Yeah, I think Apple's hiding theirs because we've got, what? Unity has sent 541 bytes. Java sent 3 KB at some point. Google Chrome sent 107 KB over the whole course of me using this today. I don't believe that. And then the rest of this is my Flash Media Live Encoder, which is actually sending the stuff to the internet that we're seeing right now. I don't see anything else, which is annoying. Maybe it's not sending anything. Maybe that's the reason. Maybe it is actually broken. I'm asking all the questions now that I'm wondering about. Look, the battery's actually going up. The last few days I've been using a MacBook Air power charger on a MacBook Pro, which is not enough power for it, not enough current. And so we'd actually have to turn off the Mac between uses. I was borrowing it from a friend because my power adapter had been left over somewhere. But I got it back. I got my power adapter back, so that's good. This is a long bar. This is a scary long bar. That is a big file. Isn't there a limit to file size? It's huge now. iOS file size limit. On Android, I probably should have done a bigger file for Android, because on Android it's easier now, I think, but it splits at greater than 50 megabytes into two things, and you have to upload both those things to Google. Now they actually host it. In the old days, if you were bigger than 50 megabytes on Android, you wouldn't be able to. What was it? You would have to have the rest of your data that was in excess of that as a separate download that you had to host yourself, and your program had to download it from your server when you launched it. Those days have passed, and now, but they still have that split for some reason, and so you have to upload both the files to Google. But yeah, max size for an iOS app, okay, 2 gigabytes is the thing. Executable file cannot exceed 60 megabytes. I'm sure that we're lower than that on the executable file. 2 gigabytes. Additionally, I think if you're under 100 megabytes, you can download on cellular. Otherwise, it will say this application is over 100 megabytes and you can't download on cellular. So if you can stay under 100 megabytes, do it. Let's see if this thing's gotten any further. Nope. Well, I mean, we can't tell. So yeah. So the file size limit is 2 gigabytes, but try to keep it under 100 megs so that you can be downloaded on cellular data. Because a lot of times people will be like waiting in line for something, and they'll be like, "I'll just download an app," and they'll spend 99 cents, and they won't do it if they'll be like, "This app is too big," and they're like, "Oh, well, I'm not near Wi-Fi." Well, I'm not. You missed a sale. So I don't know. I'm making up stories. We're up to like 10 minutes now on this upload. I was able to validate it faster. I don't know why it's been so bad here on the uploading. Because I thought Validate had to upload it to Apple servers as well for the validation portion. Maybe it works differently now. I wonder what 23 is all about.
It's Prime.
It is Prime. Alright, well, I'm going to put the face on. Not the whole face, just the face plus the cam and thing. And I'm going to play our game on iOS and see if there's anything that's new or scary about it. Grid Cruiser. Oh, we have a bar. We now have a bar. Weird. Okay, cool.
And the step didn't change. It's still your application is being uploaded.
Yep. So I wonder what it was doing all that time before that. Well, at least we have a bar now. Now there's something we can count.
Never been so happy to see a bar.
I know. I feel like the frame rate is like locked at 30 for some reason on iOS.
Ooh, that was close. And you got 2 stars at the same time.
Oh, okay.
What was the score?
40-46. so glad I have a game to play while I wait for bars to download. Ah, almost. I mean, almost survived, not almost high score. I did very badly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we just use an else if on the tilting, so if we just change that to a regular if, it will fix the tilting problem. Well, if you consider it a problem, which it is. I mean, admittedly, it's a bug. But sometimes you just want to have some tilt when you're going straight, right? Oh, game over. Actually, really like how that game turned out. Halfway through, it's not even worth counting pixels. It's like probably 1 million. Like if I was on a Retina display, it would be like 15 billion pixels or something. Nah, I don't know. It's not that many.
That reminds me of the Steam Battle Block Theater trailer, where they say that it supports resolutions up to like 14 bajillion, quadrillion, trillion. And at the bottom of the screen it says not an actual resolution yet.
Yep. Are you going to make a full series like the RTS game you did, but finishing it? Am I going to finish the RTS game? Maybe at some point. I don't know. I really wasn't happy with how that one was turning out. But I might at some point. I mostly... Honestly, like, the goal of most of the show is to show people that... like how to implement different types of scenarios in games, and then I expect people to kind of like do more research and do more stuff in that thing. I just want to try and get like basic gameplay concepts going. There's a lot of different ways to implement things, and I just like to show a few. And I like to show mistakes. So I like to show how things can go wrong in an implementation, and then you can switch to a different implementation and kind of clean things up. And so, like, the goal of it is more as kind of like sketches. It's like, this is how you sketch a game. This is how you do this stuff. And then I expect you to kind of take it the next step. This was the first series where I wanted to do a full, complete project. And I'm not sure if I really want to do this all the time. I might do it, like, once a year type thing. But I don't know if I really want to do a full project start to finish from scratch every time. Looks so concentrated playing, yeah. Did you guys go through the game and optimize or reduce the size? Nope, we didn't do any optimization. And there's not much we could do for size-wise, actually. Like, game size, we're being dictated by the Unity engine, a couple texture maps, a font, and the music. And the music is probably our biggest offender other than the game engine itself. So, like, what we produced is actually very small from a Unity perspective. And we did not do any optimization because there was really nothing to optimize. Like, we could have compressed more textures, I guess. I think we were already compressing most of them. But those textures take up a few megabytes total. And so, yeah, it's not a big deal what we did. It's getting there. I can't believe that it did a bar for that long and then still had to give us this bar afterwards. I wonder what it was doing all that time.
This bar is faster, isn't it? Or
Then
does
what?
it just feel like it's faster than the previous one because we can see its progress?
So far, this one looks like it's going to be faster. The previous one, I think, took about 12 minutes, and this one's at like 7, I think. 7 or 8. Does feel a lot faster when it's moving, though. Moving's so much better than not moving. I want to say a line from Grand Theft Auto 5 because of this concentration comment, but it's kind of above the usual PG-13 for my show. But I did immediately think about it when he said I look so concentrated playing the game. It's the line that Lamar says when, if you've played the game, Lamar has a little comment that he makes in one of the earlier missions with Franklin. You have that driving capability, that special ability, and he tells you, dude, you need to do that driving thing, and then you do it, and then he has a line after that where he talks about how your face looks when you're doing it, and it's a good line, but yeah. I guess you'll have to play the game, or I'll have to make my show not PG-13. I actually try to keep my show G, honestly, but occasionally, like, some sort of minor cussing slips out.
There was the 3-minute game.
That's
behind the
that has warnings. The behind the scene one
game.
has warning. I rated M for completely immature. So, all right. Oh, we're almost done. I'm so excited. Come on. No issues were found in Grid Cruiser. Finish.
So
all right, we're done. So if we go to our iTunes Connect now, and we go out of wherever we're at, I'm just going to go all the way back. Oh, I really hope that didn't cause any problems. I'm going to manually go back to iTunes Connect from the front. And go to Manage Your Apps, and Grid Cruiser. And it says upload received. Good sign. So that's how you submit something to the App Store. We'll know in a week or so if anything happened. And actually, sometimes if there's an early problem, they'll let you know faster. So that's good. They try to reject you as quickly as possible, so that if there is a problem, you can fix it quickly, and you won't have to wait so many weeks. But yeah. So we're done. I'm going to hit done here. We don't really need to, but I'm going to. And I'm going to call that the show. We'll do Mac on a separate episode. Sorry about that if you were waiting for Mac stuff. So, thank you for joining us tonight. We got our iOS build done and shipped off and validated and signed and desimmed and de-desimmed and all sorts of cool stuff.
Validated again,
uploaded, barred, all the bars. So, thanks for joining us. If you have any questions, pushypixels at pushypixels.com. You can also tweet me at Drakfire, Drakfyre. Thank you very much for watching, and you guys have a great night.
We'll see you tomorrow.
And it's banter time. So that was pretty good, other than, waiting for bars. It's a little boring, but maybe I'll put splits in the videos and save people the bar games. Just like split the video between when the upload started, and because I can do that now. YouTube actually lets me do that now, so without losing the comments and stuff. So they used to just have it so you could trim. Well, they used to have it you couldn't do anything. If you and then later they added the ability to trim the outside edges, and then later, like last year, I think they added the ability to actually place a split in the video and then like remove a portion in the middle. So that's nice of them. But yeah, so we didn't do any changes on the Unity side, did we? Let's find out. I'm going to go to source tree just in case. We got one change, it looks like. Submission text.text. Oh yeah, we shortened our submission text.text thing. I'll go ahead and do it. I'll check that in. Let me shorten it a little bit further, though.
Yeah, it still didn't fit.
We had to take out the spaces. So I'll just take out those spaces, and we'll check that in. Save, quit, put this in here, and I guess I'll put the screenshots that we did too, the modified ones. Oh, that's what we could have been doing. We could have been working on the screenshots while that thing was uploading. That would have been smart. Oh well. Push commits immediately to origin. We're going to call this, what is it called? Submission materials for iOS. Commit. We're in banter mode right now. I just like to have the files available if people are going to be downloading and up to date. So GitHub, and this gives us stuff to do without having to just sit here waiting for the banter to be long enough. So is that submission done? It is. It's probably safe to branch it now. Episode 28, 27. Yeah, we're doing episode 28. That was right? Yep. And I'm going to... Oh, I even said Mac first. That's unfortunate. iPhone publishing and on the iOS App Store. So we publish our game on iOS. Or at the very least, submit it to Apple for review. Save that. There we go. And that's probably enough banter. I'm just going to check to see if there's any comments so that we can talk about. Now I have to buy an iPhone. Yeah, baby. All right. I appreciate that you stick with us, man. I appreciate you like the show. I love that people like this show. So sweet. That's the end. I'm gonna stop this thing.
So he's not even gonna see or hear you say, "I appreciate that you."
All right. We'll let it spool out a little longer for our live viewers, saying that I appreciate that he's watching. He knows I appreciate it.
Just respond to his comment.
All right, I'll respond to his. Now it'll be all confusing because he'll hear it, and I'll.
But he's not going to hear
glad
us.
You enjoy the show, and it makes me feel good to know that it does help people. Good luck on your games. Okay, now I'm sure he's heard the other thing, and now it's been double done. So.
That's okay, because you're going to cut it, so only he will.